Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to 90 Day Fiancé What Now, Part 3. Oh my, we jumped around again a lot, and there was some repetition as always, but hey, that's all right because we always pick up something we hadn't heard before, right? So, as always, I will ask you to please like, share, and comment my video if you wish. Tell me something. Say good job or say, why don't you quit while you're ahead? Something. Anyway, at the beginning we see Jesse, and he's been on here, he's still doing his relationship coach thing. He's going from Amsterdam to New York and back and forth and so on. And he comes to New York. He says he's looking to find that special person, and he wants her to be the exact opposite of Darcy. Okay, so let's pick this apart a little. He wants the exact opposite of Darcy. Okay. Darcy does not handle her alcohol very well. She has way too much baggage, and when she drinks, the baggage, just like a landslide, it falls on her, and then they fight and they argue. Not saying she's not a good person. I think she's an excellent person, a great person. But I have noticed that a lot of the European people are more health conscious. I mean, they may have a glass of wine or they may have a drink, but they don't drink to get drunk, okay? They're very proud. Well, Jesse doesn't really, you'll have a glass of wine, he'll have something, but he won't be staggering, falling down. Jasmine and Blake, she was, why do you go to the club and drink like you do, That's not even fun. So he has a blind date with someone named Bianca. And they have dinner together, and, we see them leaving together, and she gets in her car, or she walks the opposite direction. But they seem to hit it off. They seem to get along really well. And she is a professional person. She's a teacher. And younger, closer to his age. So they seem to have a lot more in common at the start, at least, and just have to see how that works. So then we find Avery and Omar again, and now this time she has met the family. She gives them their gifts. And, his mom, of course, is sad, knowing that chances are he's going to move away, but she accepts Avery. And, I have read different things, and, people are like, how come, they like her, but, Laura and Rebecca and other ones, Jenny and Sumit and some of the other people, why have they had such a rough time, And even, the current season we have Lisa and Usman, and she played hell getting the mama's blessing. Okay, well, first off, Avery isn't 20 years older than he is, okay? They're closer in age. She has done her homework. She knows the culture. She decided to become a Muslim because that religion was what she felt in her heart, okay? So she did all the steps to become a convert and become Muslim and abides by that lifestyle. And then she met him, okay? So a total reverse there of what we had been seeing. And a lot of these women, they go, well, I don't have to do this. I'm not a Muslim. I'm an American. I can go do what I want to do. I don't have to dress like they do. I don't, I can drink if I want to. I can make wine in the house and blah, blah, blah. I can go out alone. All these things that cause the man embarrassment or possible jail time. In the case of making wine, it's not legal. So she meets with their family, and one of his sisters that is there, that has two little girls, actually lives in New Jersey, which is probably why the little girls spoke English so well. So I don't know if he wanted to come over here, if he could use them as a character reference or something, Well, hey, I have family here, and they aren't causing problems, so let me in? Yeah, I don't know. So then we go to Corey and Evelyn, and they have had so many ups and downs the whole time. Um, they met while he was on a hiking trip, and um, he stopped in Ecuador and met her. So she came to the States briefly, and he lived in Washington State, and his family had like a compound, a series of homes, on the same land, so they all were really close. And it's quite a big difference for her being used to the beach and being used to the nightclubs and going out and having fun and all that, and all of a sudden you're in a compound with his family and trees. And his family was Mormon, so they probably didn't do a lot of celebrating of anything, I don't know, probably more calm, um, very pacifist sort of life. So she wasn't used to that. She wanted to go home. So he went with her. He moved there to try and make it work. And he never bothered to learn the language. Now, I have heard they have a business down there, like a bar, restaurant type thing. How can you work a business and not be able to speak to the customers? And it's great if you have American tourists coming in. Yeah, great. But how many times does that happen in a little town of Engabo? And, I think not too much. And then he also found out one of their friends, he says was his best friend there, Raul, that him and Evelyn had a fling. They hooked up a few times. And Corey gets very bent out of shape over this. And this happened actually before she even met Corey, okay? So why are you stressing over it, It was way before you. And if they were going to be together, they would be together and there would be no you, okay? So just let it go. You don't have any former girlfriends, it's like the Lion King people, like those little animals say, leave your past behind you. Just leave it there. It happened, it's done, you're with her now, move forward. Don't worry about the past, okay? So, unfortunately though, his father passed away. And he came back up for that, and she did not. And when he returned, actually, that was one of the few times that she was actually nice to him, not saying things like, well, you're a big boy, you can't find your way here from the bus, She was actually there to meet him, and she was very sympathetic, towards him, and which was nice, because he'd been through a lot. I mean, his family's very close. And it was at that time that he proposed, and she accepted. Now, Corey is saying, I'm almost out of visas, almost out of extensions. We have about 6 months, and I have to get married in that time, or I have to leave and I cannot return. And she is saying, yes, I agreed to marry him, but it's not going to be tomorrow. She has really made it plain that marriage is not something that's on her list of priorities of things to do. And, will she do it to keep them together or no? I guess worst case scenario, they could always live in the States and go to a different area. There's a lot of beaches, the West Coast, East Coast, Gulf of Mexico, all kinds of places that have beaches and nightlife that would make her feel more at home. So we'll have to see what they decide to do. So then we have Tiffany and Ronald, and she's getting ready to go to South Africa. And she has a little boy that's about 8 or 9, and his father's not involved in his life, so he has really taken to Ronald and vice versa. He calls him Dad, and Ronald is, how are you, my boy, in that cool accent he has. And they're really close, and then they have the baby, of course, and Tiffany can't seem to make up her mind, okay? She wants to be with him, but she doesn't want to be there. And again, he can't come here because of his gambling thing, and apparently he'd done some burglary or something along that line to fund his gambling habit, and that is an issue, okay? So she's preparing to have the baby baptized while she's there, and she tells him, you know, you must find a place for us, and we need a crib, a car seat, you know, and miscellaneous baby things, and sends him out on this mission to do this. And then also says, well, you need to have cash too, because if she gets sick down there, you know, do you have, you know, $400 or 6,000, whatever their currency is, to pay for her? And he says, yes, yes, I've got it covered, I've got it covered. And then in the next breath, she says, you know, I hope the stress isn't going to drive him back to gambling. Okay, now, honey, you're putting all the stress on him and then hoping it won't affect him, okay? These people, I can't catch a break. I wonder if they even listen to themselves half the time. You go from one extreme to the other, total opposite. I don't want to stress him out, but you have to do this and this and this. Okay. But they video chat, you know, and with the kids and everything, and I think they do care for each other, but she has got to learn to trust, because, you know, if you're going to accuse someone of doing something enough times, they are going to go and do it, just to spite you. It's just how it is. It's human nature. So, you know, get over it, realize that he has the problem, yeah. Encourage him, try to help him, yeah. But don't write him about it every time he turns around, okay? Just a little advice, just a little. Okay, so then back to Avery and Omar, and she is so happy that his family likes her, and then she calls her mom, of course, and lets her know how it went, and of course that mom is happy. I mean, you know, you don't want your child going someplace and meeting family that, you know, don't like them. You tend to get a little upset. And, you know, they talk about where they will live, and Avery says U.S. is the first choice, but there's also UAE, that they could live in Dubai, which would be closer to his family, and third choice would be Canada, which, you know, any of the three would be really good, okay? But for right now, though, they have to separate until they figure out, you know, if he gets approved to come here or what the next step will be. So then we see Jesse going to his motivational speaking at the nursing home. He talks about, you know, loneliness and experiences in connecting with people. And I don't know if he's there to teach them or if they are teaching him, okay? He tells them, you know, about, you know, Darcy, not by name, but, you know, he's been through his share of relationships and issues and whatever. And this little old man stands up and says, you know, when he got out of the Navy, he had 250 blind dates. And 251 turned out to be the love of his life. So that's what I'm saying, you know, they could really teach him a thing or two, okay? And Jesse's just floored by that. I mean, 250 blind dates. What has he had? Maybe 10 in his life? But he's teaching them. Okay. So he's, you know, he's totally floored by that, and that's pretty much the end of it, you know. He says, you know, thank you for having me. You know, it was a pleasure getting to talk to you, get to know you, and so on. And gratefully, you know, the old people kind of get up and move as quickly as they can out of there. So then we have Laura, and she is in Florida for the time being with her son, who is going back to Canada where family is. She has 2 weeks to find a place, okay? She doesn't have her phone because Aladdin reported it stolen, so she can't use it. So somehow she gets on an iPad and reaches out to his friend, because Aladdin won't talk to her either. Now, she had caused a lot of strife with her antics, you know, things that you just do not do. And Laura has also, you know, been accused of stretching the truth just a bit, you know, so we don't know for a fact if what she's saying is true, that they were getting along fine, you know, when she went to the tell-all, and while she was there, he said he was divorcing her. So we don't know if that's really true. But the point is, you know, he's done. And, you know, that culture thing, you know, I mean, she brought home a toy from the States that, he found offensive. It's like saying he's not man enough, making the line, going out. She went, all I did was go for coffee, and he's saying, you don't do that here. Women here do not go out alone. And he didn't know where she was to top it off. And she says, well, it's not fair. I sit here all the time, and you can go to the barber shop and stay there for 3 hours. Okay, well, maybe it's not fair. If you studied up on Muslim culture, you would see that a lot of the things there are not fair to women. And if you cannot accept that, then do not date, become engaged to, or marry a Muslim man, because they aren't going to change. They expect you to. Okay? So, then we go back to Tiffany and Ronald, and he sees his daughter at the airport then for the very first time, and of course he greets her son too. I mean, he grabs him first, hi, and then holds the baby, and he says, well, he's got the car seat and he's got things lined up. He wants her just to relax and not stress, and he will set up everything that needs to be set up. And she's just always, every time you talk to her alone on camera, I just don't know if I can trust him. I just don't know if I can trust him. She sounds like a parrot, It's just the only thing on her mind all the time. I don't know if I can trust him. If you can't trust him, get out of it, Because neither of you are going to have a life. You're going to be stressed all the time, wondering if you can trust him, and then he's going to be stressed about you not trusting him, and he'll do something to make you not trust him. Okay, so we see Corey, and he's working on a car, and it's an old van of some kind, and he's wanting to sell that so he can get money together to go back to Ecuador. And he has not talked to Evelyn for about a week, he says, but he knows that she's been going out. How he knows this, I don't know, probably Facebook or, seeing pictures on Instagram and what have you. And she's been going out partying with her friends. And he says, she's not real motivated about this wedding. And he finally gets a hold of her, and he says, well, time's running out. We really need to get on this. You need to start planning. You've had plenty of time to figure out what you want. So, let's get this organized. Let's put it together. And he tells her if she walks out of the wedding, that he's walking out of the relationship. Okay, now, Corey, don't talk the talk if you're not willing to walk the walk. You have bent over backwards for her, and you want to be with her, and she can kick you like a dog, and you would come back for more. So do not say things like that if you are not 100% committed to saying, it's now or never. The wedding must take place, and I do understand his timing, his, time-sensitive situation. But if she doesn't do it, are you seriously going to walk away? Or are you going to say, well, okay, so it didn't work this time, but it will next time? Okay. So then Jesse has his second date with Bianca. And she's very, they both see a future. They get along great. They're having a wonderful time. And so that's kind of where, they're just having fun talking to each other about everything, and, have so much in common, and it's just really nice. And so then at the end we see Laura, and finally, his friend says, well, would you like to talk to him? Because he's right here. So then she, says, well, I don't want a divorce. I want to make our marriage work. And he's just having none of it. I mean, he's really angry, belligerent, yelling at her. She says, please don't be so hateful. And he says, oh, I am hateful. I am going to divorce you, and that's that. And at the end of that, he says, and do not call or text anymore. So he is done as they come, And so, of course, she doesn't have much time to find a place, and she can't afford to live there. So we don't know what she's going to do. Was she trying to make up with him to come back so she'd have a roof over her head, or was she really seriously upset because it didn't work out, Time will tell on that one, too. So, again, thank you all. And please, like, share, subscribe. That's all I can ask you to do. And I will see you next time. Bye, all.